Mrs. D, you're up.
Thank you again for the opportunity to talk with all of you about the high school admissions process. I know that this year there are so many unknowns. I do appreciate your patience. And I promise that as the information is available to me and to my team, we will be sharing it with you. Again, this is all coming from high school enrollment, and we are getting it as they are trickling it over to us, okay? So the high school admissions timeline, I know there was some information or misinformation that was put out on Sunday regarding the deadline for the registration for the SHSAT. It had just passed January 15th. However, if families still have not registered, you have until January 28th. And test tickets will probably become available within a few days before the 27th. And then families who registered after the deadline of the 15th will most likely be given the later testing date of February 7th. Please don't hold me to that. Again, all these dates come from high school enrollment. So once I have more information on that, I will let you know. The non-specialized high school application window will open the week of January 19th, and you will get an email notification to whichever email that you have set up in the My School system. You will get an alert that the application is open and you can start going in to create your child's application. The application is due the week of, the deadline for the application is February 23rd. Let me just give you that date. However, as in past years, I do ask families to try to get it into me a little bit before then, preferably for us this year during the week of February 8th, mainly because of our February break starting on February 12th. And then as soon as we come back on the 22nd, the deadline is the 23rd. So if you can work with me just so that I can review applications, I will do my best to provide feedback if it's requested. If you are confident and you know that this is what your application is going to look like and you can get it in a little bit earlier, I would greatly appreciate it. If there's any extreme circumstances or you need more time, just please communicate with me, especially during this time. I always stress the importance with the students and with families that communication is key. I know it's a little bit more difficult. I'm not in the office. It's harder for you to reach me, but just please communicate with me through email and I will get back to you. Okay. Deadline for registration for LaGuardia auditions is February 23rd. And all other, and for the audition files to be uploaded, the deadline is March 1st. Okay. As many families know, in past years, the acceptances are usually in by the end of February, early March. We're looking at late spring, end of June, July for high school acceptances to be released, and then the wait lists open. I'll go into detail later about the process for wait lists, and then we will close wait lists early fall. Does anybody have any questions about deadlines and dates?
Did you say that they came to a determination about wait lists already for next year?
Okay, so with wait lists, what happens is like as in last year, again, this can change, so please don't hold me to it. But usually what happens with the wait list process is whatever choice your child is matched to on the non-specialized application, you will automatically be placed on the wait list for every school above the one that you were matched to. And that will remain open until early fall.
That's a change from last year, isn't that correct? Last year was June 30th, wasn't it?
Yes, but we did have some students waiting on placement through the summer. So there are some circumstances where it will, be a little bit longer. But again, any of this information, Vito, as you know, can change.
Yes.
Okay. So moving on to the admissions methods, as in previous years, you have multiple ways to apply to schools, and it's very important to have a well-balanced application, which may consist of screened programs, ed-opt programs, open programs, audition programs, screens for language and academics, the SHSAT, transfer, and for zones. Okay, so for this year, the screened programs are going to be looking specifically at final core course grades from 2018-2019, the core course grades through February of 2020 from 7th grade, standardized test scores from 2018-2019 school year, and some programs may evaluate by interviews or portfolios. Now, for audition schools, the high school staff evaluates and ranks students based on their submitted auditions. So if a child expresses an interest in an audition school and puts it on their application but never submits the audition, they're not going to be considered. Same applies if they submit the audition, but the school is not on their application anywhere, they will not be considered for the program. Okay, this year's applicant's academic record are based on attendance, punctuality, course grades, standardized test scores. It will not be used for audition programs except for LaGuardia. And student enrollment makes offers to audition programs in a priority group order and then in a ranking order. Audition methods for LaGuardia specifically, the deadline for LaGuardia is February 23rd. And all students have to submit their audition through the virtual audition submission tool. Same thing applies for the non-specialized schools that require auditions. You need to list them on the application, and you have to submit your audition through the virtual submission tool. You can find more information about that if you go to schools.nyc.gov/high school auditions. It will give you the link on how to update all of your portfolios and any files that you need to submit for those audition programs. Okay, so ed-opt programs basically look at the composite score for the average final core course grades from 2018-2019, average course grades through February 2020 from their 7th grade year, as well as the standardized test scores. And based on their composite scores, just like in previous years, the students are ranked high, middle, and low. You have your high, which is your top third of the students citywide, 1/3 of the offers to each program. You have your middle category, which is your middle third of students citywide, 1/3 of the offers to each program, and then your low, which are your bottom third. So when this year, for the specialized high school choices, the students had to rank in order of preference as they were registering for the SHSAT this year in my schools. That has never been the case before. The students will not be able to rank the schools in order of preference the day of the exam. If you have older children who went through this process already, they used to get the exam that day, and then they used to fill in the grid at the bottom of the booklet. And then once they submitted that exam, that's when it was final. This year, it's different. And once you hit submit, that you will not be able to change your choices. Okay, that is for the specialized. For the non-specialized schools, it's very important that you're ranking your schools in order of preference. And please know that high schools cannot see the order of the programs on your children's application. You need to list up to 12 high school choices. Please, I can't stress this enough. And if through this process, if I do call you because your child only put 3 or 4 schools on their application and you don't have a zone school that is assigned to you based on your address, I'm not calling to make things more difficult for you, but the reason I will ask you to provide me with more choices is because I want to maximize your child's chances of being matched to a school that they want to go to, as opposed to them possibly being matched to a school that was never on their application if you don't have 12. So please, I know 12 seems like a lot, but now's the time to really research the schools, use the My Schools search filters. They're very user-friendly. If you'd like, I can go through it later on and I can show you specifically how easy it is and how specific it is to search different programs. But many of the students have been using it already and they have been finding it very easy. And as you go through that process, all you have to do is star the choices, add it to your favorites, and then once the application does open up, you can drag and drop them over, and it makes everything go very smoothly. Students are considered for all offers in the order of programs on their application. So if you don't get your first choice, then you're considered for your next choice, and so on. And then if you don't get your first choice, your second choice would be considered as if it was your first choice. Again, the schools will not see how you rank them. Okay. Any questions so far? The eligibility description, when you're searching up the schools, they will tell you whether or not there's any specific requirements. But for eligibility, it explains whether or not the students can apply to a program. Most programs don't have eligibility and are open to all New York City residents, for example. This year specifically, due to everything that's going on with COVID-19, any type of district eligibility or catchment areas, that has been eliminated this year. So for example, Millennium Manhattan was for District 2. Any type of eligibility based on district and catchment area has been eliminated. The only thing that is not unchanged this year is the eligibility based on borough and other factors. So for example, Staten Island schools are for Staten Island residents only. Okay. Offers and wait lists. So students can receive a match to a specialized high school, a non-specialized high school, and multiple studios at LaGuardia. And then once they receive all of their matches, they will then choose one. Depending on where they are on the application to what the school they're matched to, they will be placed automatically on the wait list, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, for all the schools above the one that they were matched to. So if they were matched to school number 4, on the non-specialized application, they will be automatically placed on the wait list 1, 2, and 3. And then you will be able to monitor and see your number on that wait list for those specific schools. There are no wait lists for the specialized high schools. This is only for the non-specialized schools. As seats open up, you will receive notification that a seat is available, and then you will have a short window to decide, and the wait list will remain open throughout the summer through early fall. There are a lot of resources available to you as we receive information on virtual high school fairs or any open houses. We have been sharing it with families. Please make sure that you are receiving the emails from me through Pupil Path. If for whatever reason you are not, please email me, because that's the main way that I've been corresponding with families. So I just want to make sure that you are receiving the information. But these resources are very helpful. You can go to the schools.nyc.gov/hi. That gives you all the up-to-date high school information. If you go to schools.nyc.gov/shs, that's for all of your specialized high school information. I gave you the information for schools.nyc.gov/high school auditions. That will share with you the links for the submission tools on how to upload your audition files. myschools.nyc is very helpful as well. All of the information is available for PDF download in English and 9 other languages. Here is my email. And if you have any questions about 8th grade sweatshirts or anything going on, I had done another workshop with Ms. McGar last week, so that's why her information is here as well. So again, I appreciate all of your patience. I am here for any of your questions. Please keep in touch with me, and I will be sure to share the information as I receive it.
Thank you. I'm looking at the chat. I answered many of the questions as we went. Does anybody have any questions? Either put it in the chat or raise your hand.
So as Mr. Berman said, we're going to be giving the test on the 27th. Test tickets, like I said, will be available for print probably a few days prior. And on the test tickets, it will tell you the date and the time to arrive at the school. And then we will be notifying students on the classrooms to which they should report. Is that correct, Mr. Berman?
Yes.
Okay. Some students I mean, we believe that everyone's going to be testing on the 27th, but again, we don't determine that date. So if there are students who registered after the 15th, it is very possible. I believe I have less than a handful of kids that might be in that situation where they might test on the later date, which would be in February. But again, this is all to be determined by high school enrollment as they are trying to figure out how many kids are testing across the city.
Statewide tests in April. Do we have any knowledge yet?
No, right now there are no plans. We don't hear anything about any testing. Same for Regents exams. There's been no word about that.
January 27th is a school day. What will be the, if we're assuming schools are still closed, so it'll just be our kids at school, and then kids will be remoting without any kind of, I don't know. If that's a question for you, that's a good question. Where are you getting everybody?
I'm not sure what the question is.
Is there regular school that day? Let's start with that.
Sure. Well, basically, we need every staff member who's not on medical accommodations to come in and help us proctor the exam. We actually need more people than that. We're requesting additional substitutes to help us with all of the students that we need to test. Students whose teachers are on medical accommodations will have those teachers. It'll be a regular day for them. Other students whose teachers are coming in to proctor the exam, it'll be an asynchronous day of learning for those students.
Yep, there we go.
That's pretty much how we've got it figured out so far. I do see lots of questions in the chat. Are you going through them, Mr. Lavella?
Most of them I've gotten to. The other question is, we don't have a time yet. We don't know what time the test will be given.
No, but I do expect students to be required to be at school at 8 o'clock. It'll be a long day. It's a 3-hour test. It's about an hour of prep. Students with test mods get even more time. The building is open only for the test. Yes, that's correct. Graduation.
Students will have to bring their test tickets with them the day of the exam. That's just a reminder.
There is a makeup exam, I believe.
There
There
is a
will be a
makeup exam on February 10th.
Yes, and medical documentation needs to be provided in order to be granted the makeup.
I see there's some questions about the composite score for high schools. I do not know where that score is available. Do you know about that, Mrs.?
I am not sure. I don't have that information.
I don't think we can see the composite scores, but you can see your child's core scores. When you sign into My Schools NYC and you look at your student's student profile.
Yes, all of that information should be there.
You can see their grades, the core grades that are being considered.
Yes. As I've been navigating through the My School system, pretty much I've noticed on a regular basis, there's been new and updated information. So all of the students' grades that are being considered that the schools are going to see, it's there now.
And just so 8th grade families know, we are hoping to be able to dismiss children as soon as they're done with their exam and not have to keep them till 2 o'clock. If we have to keep them, that requires even more staffing. But we'll see. We're waiting for an answer from the DOE on that one. Any plan in school this summer? No. I suspect there will be no summer school in general this year.
Unless we do remote, right?
Perhaps, but I don't expect there to be much summer school this year, especially since they're pretty much passing everyone anyway.
So if someone is fully remote, they don't have to do anything to take the SHSAT.
Say that again?
What do you mean?
So, yeah, so a parent is worried that their kid is remote, and so they can't get to the school, but that's, whether their status is remote or blended is irrelevant to coming to the school for the SHSAT.
Yes, it is irrelevant. If they are a remote student and they want to take the test, the only way for them to take the test is if they physically come to the building.
Thank
That's
you.
correct. That's correct. How many students are in one room? That depends on the room. We are not changing the social distance requirements. Each room has a specific number of students based on the square footage of the room. So we use that anytime there's occupancy in the room, of course, including for any adults as well. Water and snacks. You know, I will let you know on that one. I haven't checked the test administrator manual myself on that one. My guess is yes, but don't quote me on that one. Our virtual house is online. We are not going to have any other virtual open house. Our school's closed. So no.
Mr. Berman, I'll post a link on our Facebook page and group if you get it to me.
For
The open house.
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, can you link to it directly through is187.com?
Oh, it's on our website?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I apologize. I should have known that. I will do that.
That's okay.
I just want to go back to the, are the tickets available through My Schools? Yes, you will get an email notification that your test ticket for the SHSAT is available to print. And then you will go in to your student's profile, scroll down to the very bottom, and it will tell you print test ticket. Just print it out and bring it with you the day of the exam.
There's a good question in the chat about COVID-19, about being tested. No, students are not required to be tested or show proof of being tested before the exam. However, anyone coming into the school must pass the health screening.
Yes.
The health screenings always have to be passed by students and adults coming into the school. And again, they're the same basic questions about having symptoms within the past 10 days, being exposed to someone, or testing positive within the past 10 days.
So if you're sick, even with a cold, do not come to school.
No.
No, please. No, get a doctor.
The doctor
call your
that
doctor.
day. That day.
Get a doctor's note for that day. Correct. Go there, go to the doctor that day and get medical documentation. This
And
way.
please notify me as soon as possible if your child is sick that day. Send me an email so that I can make sure that we put in for the makeup.
Changing your address for the high school application.
Okay, so if you have to change your address, please email me and then I will link you with Ms. Koo and she will give you the list of documents that she needs in order to update your address in ATS. And then it usually takes a couple of days to hit the system and then that automatically jives with the My Schools database so that high school enrollment has your new address.
Everybody out there, come on, we have 111 people. It's 8:15. We got a few minutes. Well, we got as long as we want. Well, I know these. I want to thank Mr. Berman and Mrs. D for spending so much time with us, and they'll stay here. Your questions can all be answered. So you got to take advantage of it now.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if you ever get to see the composite scores. There's a question about that for the high schools.
Just give me a second. Let me see if I could pull up a student and I'll see where in the student profile it may be located. Just bear with me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Thank you, Melissa.
Just a plug for the PTA. Those of you, I know I see 119 participants. I'm not sure why you see fewer, but I'm going to guess that maybe there might be some of those participants who just for some reason just, forgot to pay their PTA dues. So if you are,
The 119 includes 9 people in the waiting room that we did not admit because we could not see their first name and last name.
I got you. Well, maybe you could let them know too, if they forgot to pay their PTA dues. Bella's going to put in the chat where I believe it's the cheddar up.
Cheddar up. Oh, we really want to sell it today.
Well, while we're waiting for Mrs.
While
Domazetovski,
we're waiting.
we might as well make really good use of the time. And I will tell you that, in all seriousness, all of the PTA dues, and really is a donation. The PTO is a certified 501c3 charity, so you can deduct those donations, and every dollar goes right to the children. Every single one. There are no administrative fees. There's no nothing. It goes right to the kids and right to the things that are important for the school. So I do thank you for all of those who did contribute. And by the way, the amount to contribute, I know there's a suggested donation. Whatever you can, really, any amount is wonderful, and we're grateful for that. So thank you. So Ms. B,
From what I can see, on my end, I don't have access to that specific composite score. That doesn't mean that it may not, it's possible that they may include that in your student profile at some point.
Perhaps you can find out and send it out to the 8th grade families.
Yes, I will find out from high school enrollment, and then once I get an update, I'll send you an email. Great.
Thank you. There's a question about medical clearance. It's not really medical clearance. There's the health screening form. It's the same form. I can put the website in the chat that students used when school was open. The health screening website is, oh, there it is, healthscreening.schools. Oops, autocorrect. There you go. So there are those 4 questions there. So best thing to do is the morning of the exam, do the health screening, print it out, and bring it with you with your ticket. And you'll show it to the person. Students will have their temperature taken, and they come in, and that's how that will go. Should go very, very smoothly. And our team has been working at it now since last week. As soon as we got wind that we were going to be testing the students at our school, we got on top of that and started planning. And as long as we have enough staff to proctor.
Mr. Berman?
Yes.
I'm getting messages from all over the place. Any update on schools opening?
None whatsoever.
I think so.
None whatsoever.
Somebody's hearing after the February break. Everyone's rumors, nothing official, nothing you'll hear, you'll tell us.
I have heard nothing. I'm pretty sure principals will be the last ones to know.
I don't think students are allowed to have any type of devices with them when they come in for the test, unless, we're going to are we collecting them, Mr. Berman, or are we advising families to have them stay home?
No, I'd rather not collect them, but there will be no electronic devices
That's what I think.
in the testing rooms.
Okay.
So I do suggest that be a day to leave the electronic devices at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if the child can, due to specific circumstances of high-risk family members, student will not be able to take the SHSAT. They do not have a way to give it remotely, so it has to be in person. There will be, from what we were told, there may be another test possibly in August being given. but I don't have any more information other than that. Children do need to be present physically to take the exam.
And I see there was a question about a check. I'm not sure I follow. If the check, are you saying the check was stuck with the homeroom teacher?
Yes, I don't know which teacher was. And here's a question from me, sir. Can I get in and get the mail?
Yes, you can. Just let me know when you want to go.
Okay,
I'll talk to Mr. Mascarini, the custodian, and you absolutely can.
but there's nobody there. I mean, there's no staff there.
Well, don't forget, our school is one of the biggest feeding sites in the city still. They serve thousands of meals a day. So the kitchen is humming along. There's school safety there. The custodial staff is there every day,
Okay.
cleaning up those areas. And in fact, they go through the entire building every day.
But has the mail been sorted, or is it just one big pile? 'Cause I don't want to.
I'm going to give you a big I don't know on that
Yeah,
one.
right. I'll let you know.
I know our school aides have been in from time to time. I do expect that your mail is probably bundled up
'Cause
somewhere.
people have told me that they've mailed checks.
Well, they'll be there. They'll
Oh.
be there.
Mary Koo did. Thank you. Thank you,
there-
Mary.
Can students wear a watch? That's a good question. I'm going to say yes, they can wear a watch, but I would make sure it doesn't have any sort of computer, anything on it, and that it has zero suspicion at all of being anything other than a timepiece. In fact, if it looks something like a sundial, that would probably be the best thing. But yeah. Will students be able to call parents for pickup? We'll have, the main office will be open. We'll have phones there. They can certainly call. We don't know when they're going to be released. We don't know if they're going to be able to go after the 180 minutes of the exam, or if they need to stay in school the whole day. Normally, 8th graders need to stay in school the whole day. But it does seem silly. We haven't gotten a definitive answer from the DOE yet on that. They're bouncing that around. I'm sure if we do release them, we'll be very, very clear with you when they'll be able to be released. I don't think anyone gets released before the 180 minutes.
No, I think the minimum is the 3 hours. I think that is still the same.
And then there's about an hour of preparation before that, as I had mentioned earlier. So, yeah. It's a long day for the students. It's a long day. I do not believe there is a break in the exam for lunch. I believe they're going to work straight through.
Yes. And any student who has testing accommodations will have double time. And I believe there will be some sort of waiver so that if they do finish the exam prior to the 6 hours, they possibly can leave, but more is to come on that as well.
And I do believe that those students do get a break. There
Yeah.
is a break in between.
Yes.
Nobody could be expected to work for 6 hours straight like that. Great.
Okay, we're going to wind down, everyone. So last licks here.
Great questions, though. Yeah.
Of course, if they do get stuck during the whole day, a parent can come and take their kid out as usual, right?
Yes. Assuming that, I mean, yeah, assuming they're done with the exam.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess you could take your kid out in the middle of the exam. I don't know why
No.
you really do that. That would not make that would be.
I don't think that's what they were asking me, though. I think because you'd mentioned that they might be there for a full day, but
They might be. They might be.
oh wow, good question about a mask.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. The social distance and the PPE requirements have not changed at all. We will have hand sanitizer in every classroom. We will have masks in every classroom. The rooms will be cleaned multiple times before the students even get there. And of course, after they leave. I would say, I was just going to say, I would wear warm clothing.
Yes.
That is very, very important.
And if for
Yeah.
whatever reason your child is not feeling well the day of the exam, please do not send them in. I know we mentioned it before, even if they have a little bit of a stomach ache, they think they can hold through. Same procedures will apply. If they start that exam and they get sick in the middle of the exam, unfortunately, it is what it is at that point. So as we always advise families in the past, if your children are sick, don't allow them to start that exam because it would be voided if they don't finish.
Right. And the comment is, please make sure the room is warm. No, you have to understand the windows are going to be open. It's probably going to be very cold. So no, we cannot. I mean, the heat is on, but when the windows are open, depending on which side of the building you're on and which way the wind is blowing, it can be chilly. So bring, dress for being warm.
I would make sure you have a hat at the very least, a hat to,
We have to keep the windows open.
I have a question. This is not about the test, but this is more about what next year is going to look like for the school.
Sure.
Since the sixth grade is going to be a lottery,
Mm-hmm.
do you think you're going to reinstitute academies next year?
Yes.
And do we have ESL teachers right now? Like, do we have ESL students? Do we have any teachers who are TESOL licensed?
The answer to both questions is yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes and yes.
I'm relieved.
I think I'll ask a follow-up question for you.
Yes.
Are we going to need more ESL teachers or ENL teachers? The answer is probably.
How many do we have right now?
We have 2 teachers with ESL licenses.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a high demand, but we do have some. Many of our ACES students require ESL services, and some of our self-contained students require, and even some of our ICT students on occasion require ESL services.
Thank you. That makes me feel better.
You're welcome. Yeah.
If a student is sick on the day of the test with proof of a temperature, so they come in, they have a fever, they're not feeling well, we won't have the child start the exam. We will advise you to take your child to the doctor that day and provide a medical documentation that they were seen, and then we can put in for a makeup.
The proof is not the temperature.
No, it's not the
Proof
temperature.
is
You have to
from
go to the doctor.
Is the note from the doctor that says, so-and-so was seen in my office today for XYZ and has this temperature and whatever, could not take exam. Something along those lines. I would make sure it says something like that.
Yeah.
Michelle Valinsky has a question. Michelle?
Yes. I'm concerned about ID. My daughter lost school ID. Is there any problem with this?
No.
No, just bring your test ticket.
It's not a problem. That's one of the benefits of having the test taken here. Our teachers know our children, so no, it's not.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Not a problem. I always wondered about that at the actual big testing sites over years past, if people were able to just sort of go in and say, I'm so and so, and take the test, but never mind. That's too nefarious.
Sounds like an SAT scandal to me.
Yeah. No, we won't have any of that here. No,
Okay. Going once, going twice. Any other questions? Come on. All righty, it's 8:31. I don't see anybody with a hand up, and I don't see any questions in the chat. You're welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for coming.
everyone. I need a motion to adjourn. Hey, Madeline, thank you. Coming through. Seconded to someone.
Adjourn.
Thank you, Michelle. So we are adjourned at 8:31. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Berman. Thank you, Ms. D.
My
You're
pleasure.
welcome.
Yes, well done, Mrs. Day. Thank you.
Thank you.